Imagine waking up and checking the news on your phone. Instead of seeing awful crimes, silly government cock-ups and the usual depressing global events, you see, well, nothing. Apart from the phone part, this happened on April the 11th, 1954. It's known as the most boring day in history. This was discovered by a computer scientist by the name of William Tunstall Pedoe, who used an algorithm to scan through all major recorded events and found that this particular day had basically nothing of note at all. After he published his findings, the Daily Mail jokingly wrote an article taking a look at their newspaper, and it pretty much confirmed his findings. In fact, the day was so downright uneventful that the theft of a single silver cup worth £50 made it to the front page. Adjusted for inflation, that's still only £1,750. If that sounds exhilarating, just wait until you hear this next top story. A man in Kensington couldn't take his laundry into a laundrette because it was a women-only establishment. Absolutely gripping. In other news, the Queen also went to a garden party in Sri Lanka, and someone got told they shouldn't do ballet on a stage in Liverpool because it might damage the machinery under the floor. I mean, if those are the big stories, how on earth did they fill the paper? It must have just been really thin, I guess. Now, the Daily Mail didn't cover this next bit, which is significant births. Obviously, you can't tell which births are significant most of the time until after the person actually does something, so we only know of these births looking back. Even still, with all due respect to the following significant people, they aren't really household names. There were 6 Wikipedia-worthy people born that day. Abdullah Atalar, a Turkish engineer, Francis Licorice, an English musician, David Perrott, a Scottish psychologist, Ian Redman, an English biologist, and finally Willie Royster, who was an American baseball player. Moving on to politics, something did happen. There was a general election held in Belgium. The Christian Social Party ends up winning 95 of the 212 seats and 49 of the 106 seats in the Senate. And that's it for politics. No noteworthy films, books, or music was released that day either, as far as I can see. And that's about it, seriously, it was a truly uneventful day. But is April the 11th, 1954 really the most boring day in history? In my personal opinion, I think it's up there, but it's not the only boring day. For example, on April the 18th, 1930, for some reason April is quite a boring month, I guess, the BBC simply told their audience there is no news and filled the 15-minute segment with music instead. But the true answer to the most boring day on Earth is a pretty pointless one. I've no doubt before humans arrived on the scene and started messing around, there were whole years on our planet where basically nothing happened except extremely slow evolution. But looking back that far is completely pointless. Similarly, there will have been some really boring days for humanity before the introduction of the printing press, but we have far too patchy of an understanding of historical events that far back to even point out single days where nothing happened. And there you have it, that's why the 11th of April 1954 is the day where nothing happened. It's pretty remarkable that genuinely nothing of note happened for an entire day.